Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? Sorry about the delay in the episode for Sir Matt Lamb. Basically, I just needed to fix the intro and you know take out things that were supposed to happen and they're not happening because well, not everyone, but a lot of people are getting sick and everyone else is avoiding getting sick. So, if you're like me, you are still working and are working in a weird place where you're like, I think I'm at a higher risk. I work with cars, and basically, what I do is I have to drive in a customer's car, and had to do a little adjustment. Basically, I have to drive in a customer's car, which means I'm touching everything that they touch: steering wheel and the wiper arm and like the light switches and you know all that. And then I have to get into the car and change the oil, and it's just it's a stressful time. But I got to be working because I got shit to pay, and so that is common. But I do have a couple things to plug regardless, um, because it's far enough out that they could still happen. I'm doing Clash of the Comics on June 4th. It has been confirmed, and then I'm doing I have a show in um, Mason City on June 12th. I'm not sure where exactly. I have to double check, but um, I think I think Day Day told me. Comedian Day Peace, I believe. Yeah, he booked me on that. Be doing my first 15-minute set, so I'm gonna be putting together a lot of what I've been doing and put together everything that went well. Make a good 15 out of it. Hopefully, make a good impression. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's really all I got going on. And with most venues and bars shutting down, there is no hip hop shows, no rock shows, no nothing um, going on. So if I've been putting the call out to artists and other creators and creative types and venue owners, supporters of the arts in that way, where you're putting people on, or maybe you run a promotion thing, whatever. You know what I mean, like venue owners and shit. But anyway, the point is, if you are like a musician, magician, comedian, if you're a fucking juggler, I don't know, if you're pursuing an artistic career, a dream, please reach out. I'd love to have you on the podcast. We can do on the phone, online. We can do something like that in regards to what obviously not coming in contact and keeping distance. I have plenty set up that we can keep a distance in between us. So whatever works. I'll make it comfortable. Oh well, I mean, if you're at your house, you kind of have to make yourself comfortable. Um, but I will be inviting in my general tone. And this is a hard time for performers and everyone who got laid off and everyone who is at a lack of uh, expression and other things that are keeping us sane in our day to day. Everyone's stocking up on toilet paper for no other reason than they saw everyone else stocking up on toilet paper, so they had to get it before it was gone. And they wouldn't be the one with an unwiped ass out of everyone. And yeah, things are definitely weird, but I hope everyone is staying safe, staying clean. My little brother, Jaden Clemens, or also Jay Versus as a rapper, he has a SoundCloud page up finally. I kind of have to talk to him about the reference because he made it Jaden Clemens instead of Jay Versus, the artist name. So that's where it's under right now. So Jaden, if you happen to be listening, probably not. Damn kid. No, it's all good. Then fix it. But otherwise, I'll help you out. But either way, he's on SoundCloud, so you can check him out. You can see all his music that he has up. Is Jaden Clemens, Jaden, and then Clemens is Clemens. A name that I have spelled out for everyone, because 1 out of 10 people gets it right. Um, I always thought it was boring, but the amount of people that get it wrong, I actually started to make it be like, wow, it's a little more unique than I thought. Um, So that was a positive turn on things, and um, you know, basically, I've just been trying to help promote him as much as I can. His episode got over 140 listens, and so I think it's at 143. Go check that out if you want to. We're gonna have him on again here soon as a quarantine special, and we're gonna see it, and we're gonna see what he's been up to. Talk to him about all that. While we all have endless time, he's also still working. He's a tow truck driver. Yeah, and ironically, with my job being an oil changer, um, we all have probably learned at this point that old people have expressed a lack of fear in the coronavirus, meaning they are still going out and living their lives regardless because whatever for whatever reason it might be. So there are some that are very scared, obviously, because they realize they're at high risk and it's a pandemic and it's global. Um, but then there's the others who are like, this isn't real. This just doesn't feel real. They don't get the full concept maybe of really. I don't know. And social distancing doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. We just did the we just did like a sanitization thing of the store, and um, so when we have all these old people coming in that are our regular customers, and it's old people that are the least scared, then you end up around some of the most likely cases of what the kind of people that would get it. And so I'm a little worried about that. I don't want to jinx myself, knock on wood, but it is a problem. And so I, yeah, I've just been trying to stay clean, and also sanitary, and but I am so tempted to drink or just like celebrate like I had a night off or something. I'm just like, no, it's not the same though. Like you're just because these are all nights I'd be drinking. Like on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, I drink at the comedy nights and at the open mics. Now I just can't drink. So now I feel like tempted to. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just fucking wait and take a break, And otherwise, I might just get fucking wasted. Otherwise, if I get like wasted in my house, I'm just gonna be like, I'm so alone. But I feel like a lot of that doesn't happen every time. Sometimes I just fucking fall asleep way too early, and then I wake up one being like, damn it, where did my night go? Um, just normal generic shit. So I just feel I'm just getting fucking antsy as a lot of performers are to fucking I don't know do something. Uh, but yeah, that's why I'm putting out the call to invite people onto the podcast. And yeah, they came from the underground at gmail.com. Hit us up. You can hit us up on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, whatever you prefer, really. Email would be the easiest way, but whatever works. Facebook Messenger. Um, so then, besides that, got the shows coming up June 4th, June 12th, Mason City, Clash of the Comics, Des Moines. Yeah, we just did the open mic, I guess you could call it, or online virtually through Google Hangouts, and it was live on Facebook. Uh, yeah, it crashed on live halfway through Bradley, and there was really only Bradley Gilbert, and I was the last one, and he was right before me, and it wasn't anyone's real fault. Not mad at anybody, Jeremiah. But no, it's all good. And uh, we started to get about 20 people watching, but there was only about 5 or 6 of us performing anyway. So and since those are the only ones you could see in Google Hangout, it was kind of funny just being like it's just like performing jokes to my friends. But it wasn't so bad. I wasn't like as nervous as I wasn't drunk. I wasn't like buzzed like I normally am, or even drinking. But yeah, it's it's a definitely an interesting experience. So but in this episode we got Matt Lamb comedian from the Des Moines area. I'm happy to have him. Came over, had this in the bank for a little while. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope y'all are enjoying lockup, sanitation, um, whatever. And I hope you're not feeling too imprisoned and don't go too crazy. And yeah, we'll see you out there.
I was forged from iron and filled with the soul of a tyrant giant, hiding deep inside. I'm riding high, got lost the light. It's finding time to snort a line. I smoke the pine, I press rewind. Cause I'ma take 'em back to when tragedy's all that happened. Used to act like nothing mattered. Ruthless savage, real sporadic. Snatching rabbits, cocaine addict. I survived, this shit was magic. Plus my bitch just wasn't shit. Ho was out here taking dick from every nigga in the clique. Lots of friends with benefits. I got a vendetta, the sedative setting in. Nothing is better than
I kind of have it adjusted in case you wanted to sing, because I have a lot of people like sit back.
For sure.
It's kind of wherever you want to be.
Man, I need to get me some of these. I use these fucking standard, like, literally just like what you'd see at an open mic type XLRs.
Really? Hell yeah.
Because I was an idiot and was like, oh, these will be fine.
Yeah. No,
But-
yeah, honestly, if I hadn't known anything about microphones until, well, like, when I had started, then I would have just ended up getting normal, like, stage mics and all that shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'd have just gotten a good quality one, then it wouldn't have really mattered, regardless, you know.
Yeah.
It's a self. You know, if you got good quality, if it sounds okay, then you're fine. You know?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just like a comfort thing where it's like because I mean, given the only guest I have anymore now is just I have one friend who comes over to do my cast, and it's just like I just kind of lean it my mic stand up through like my crotch, basically, just kind of like lean it up here and just talk down into it. And
Yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah.
also like because some people like to hold it too, so I'm just like fuck it, like
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I really a lot of that is a like a kind of a comfort thing. Like, especially if you're, I would definitely believe that with experienced comics, that, excuse me, that get like a lot of stage time in, just having their hand on the mic, then it's just easier for them to like remember to do it if it's there and they can move around with it.
Yeah, people always feel kind of like uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, now you don't have to worry about trying to like use them for flavor. You can just
Exactly.
you just focus on that. You can cross your other one under it and just hide it away. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my biggest things was when I was starting out, like, I would fucking, if I took the mic out of the stand, I would just fucking not freak out, but like I would pace like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And that would just completely, like, I would look like such an idiot just back and forth, like, constantly.
Right, yeah.
So I forced myself to keep it in the stand, and then that turned into, like, kind of a crutch in a way, because then I was just, like, standing there kind of boring-ish. And then it worked at first because I was, like, a one-liner comic. Like, I started out, like, with so much more one-liners. And then that turned into this fucking situation where, like, once my style developed where I was telling less one-liners and I was just standing still, then it didn't really, like, it didn't go through as well. So I was like, all right, well, now one of the other, like, kind of like regional comics like came up to me after a show once and he was like, hey, just take the mic out of the stand and you're really gonna start to like do well. So
right, yeah, exactly.
Now I'm taking it out of the stand.
Yeah, no, I don't really. Yeah, definitely. That's that, and it's very much like a certain kind of the talking with your hands can help a lot when you're when you got it in the stand. Yeah, because having it out, like being able to move around, it shows comfort in what you're saying, you know, because you can be like, I can just walk all around and just look around while I give all my weird opinions.
Exactly.
Tony Tiger's dick.
Exactly. Oh,
what brand of speaker is this?
Also, like, are we started or like?
Yeah, I started recording.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you wanted to like do like we're just kind of shooting the shit. Or if you have like an intro to your show or anything. Nah,
I just kind of I'll tell what I've been doing is I'll start recording and then this becomes a which I should probably it's probably gonna get annoying from me even to me at one point of just me like at every episode it comes in the point of me explaining that I've already started recording. It's just funny dropping it on people. Being like, we've been recording for 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, whatever, you know.
I kind of figured since we were like already like talking into microphones and you hadn't been fucking with anything, I was like, either we're just like having a conversation into microphones.
Yeah, we're recording. Welcome to They Came From the Underground. This is Matt Lamb, a comedian from the Des Moines area. Also has a podcast called Monster Jamboree.
Hooray.
You can also find it on punandgames.com.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we were just talking about your start comedy, like you doing one-liners and this sort of thing. But when you started as a one-liner comic, was that because that tended to be the sort of jokes you were writing the most?
Yeah,
you
that
kind of filled it better.
So with my one-liners, I didn't, because I think I kind of recognized that I was a young comic and I didn't have a lot of stories.
Yeah,
because it was like my stories were like party stories or just like nothing really interesting. Like I was 23, I hadn't really lived a lot of life. Like I just graduated college and like basically all my life was like natural transitions. Like I went from high school to college and then from college to like immediately working at Wells Fargo.
Oh, really?
So
that's
like,
definitely a standard like white person transition through life of I did school and I worked at a bank.
Yeah, like, I didn't really do anything like of note, and like at the time I hadn't come out, so like I didn't really like. I mean, I'd been out. It just was like joining a new scene and being like instantly. By the way, I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm gay. Like it just felt weird to me.
Right.
And like now I look back and I'm like, no one would have given a shit.
Right.
But
but I can't imagine it felt that way, before because like it kind of had to come out for you to for it to to figure it out. I probably didn't care as much as maybe you did.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And now like I mean just getting older with it, because I was out to all my friends and most of my family and all that stuff as like by the time I was like 19.
Yeah.
But like there's always just that like, or at least there was. Now I really just don't seem to give a shit. But except for
that's good, yeah.
And except for in a professional environment, I kind of keep it to myself mostly because like, I mean, you just got to game the system and see who's a fucking piece of shit or not.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually like I would call that a smart move, at least like I'm not saying I know how to manage like hiding my sexuality among a professional crowd by any means, but like but it makes a lot of sense, so that, like you're not showing your whole hand. You're not showing your hand.
That's exactly it.
You got that in, and then you later have that as a weapon in case they say something. Be like, I'm gay.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my other favorite is like I know what I look like and I don't look like your stereotypical.
Right.
Which, I mean,
yeah.
And unfortunately, like there's also the whole thing that there is like a stereotype of like, oh, that guy doesn't look gay. That guy does look gay. Like that is a problem. But like I understand that it does exist, whether or not it's good, but it does exist.
Yeah, it does.
So it's fun to like kind of like it's fun. Like I don't think it's ever stopped being fun.
Right.
When I like tell somebody and just that like just kind of like it's never been like complete shock, but like just that like
like
that confusion that always happens. Like it barely ever has been like, oh yeah, for sure I could. Yeah,
they go back
guessed.
over their whole history of knowing you and like analyze moments with you in your life. Like, what was I missing a? Is there a cue that I missed somewhere?
Exactly. That's why, like, the other part where I don't really, like, tell people right away, because I'm like, I wonder how long I can just kind of keep that to myself.
Right.
And then just, like, casually drop it in.
Yeah.
And that's usually how I tell people, is I'll just be like, oh, I went on a date with this guy, and then just, like, watching them kind of, like, register the information they heard.
Right.
It's so fucking
That's
fun.
gotta be great.
Oh, dude,
hell yeah.
It's fun every single time.
Every time.
Like,
as long as it doesn't get old. That's a good one to hold on to.
Oh, dude, it's like, as soon as it stops being fun, I'll probably stop doing it. And also, like, the more that I tell people, like, the less it'll be of a shock. But, like, because, like, I'm not, I'm not famous yet. I'm not, nobody knows all my shit. So, literally just, like, casually sliding it into a conversation and watching somebody's face just, like, try to not, like, freak out in the middle of a conversation. It's
Today, I feel a lot of panic comes from people, like, not even caring that someone is gay, just, like immediately realizing they suddenly are gonna have to. They think they're gonna have to handle themselves differently.
Yeah, it's,
like now they're thinking about it. Now they're like, fuck, now I gotta think about everything I'm gonna say and like this and that. It's like, no, if you just relax, you'll probably be fine.
That's the other thing too. It's just like I am afforded, I guess, the luxury of being a quote unquote straight presenting gay person.
I don't think I've heard. It's not a phrase I'll hear often, but it's like I get it when you say it.
Yeah, the slur. I say slur very loosely because it's not really a slur, but the quote unquote slur is straight acting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like within the gay community, like I mean, it's like of all the things to be called, being called straight acting isn't like really a thing, but like it's kind of kind of a, oh, he's straight acting, you know, like blah blah blah, like he doesn't struggle the same way that we do, because you know, he doesn't wear it, you know.
He's not like forcing it. He's not making it the thing you just visit. It's not. If it's not, it doesn't have to be a visual thing.
Exactly.
You know, like that's so I would get how that gets frustrating.
So and so people will be like, oh, like, you know, he doesn't, just the idea that I don't experience the same like struggles as somebody who, and I don't, like, that's the other, like, I'll fully like
and I don't.
Well, like, I mean, it's true. Like I don't you know, I don't experience the same struggles as somebody who, you know, has quote unquote gay voice, or, you know,
right,
like, like there is a certain like way that sometimes, even just like the way that people move or speak or have certain, you know, mannerisms, that people will be like, oh, that's a gay person, like, then they just like know inherently. But then, you know, people like me who aren't able to just be like called out right away, like, I do have a privilege in a way, but it's also like I still struggle with, you know, being a gay person in America.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's much better than it's ever been, for sure. But I don't know where this tangent came from.
No, I mean, it was part of the questions was that I was hoping that we'd be able to get into naturally was, you know, how it's been for you in that regards, because I know that's at least come up, you know, a couple times, whether it be on stage or or off, and so that's you know, it's something I would, you know, I definitely have interest in delving into, because it is, you know, you know, it is obviously a part of who you are, and that's a thing that's taken seriously in the country, like less so nowadays, we're definitely more of an era of celebration than not, but also dying off and just being like, all right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a non-issue in most, like, but there is definitely still, like,
you got to give that room.
Just also just for safety, even, like,
like,
well, because, like, I mean, that's
we do still live on Earth.
Yeah, well, just like, even just like well, so I guess like one of my concerns is, I'm thinking, like, I mean, this is all, you know, long term or just in general, like, you know, if I go do comedy in a room that I'm not familiar with, and you know, and I just casually mention being gay somewhere, that, you know, and that doesn't fly, like, you know, I could put myself in danger, and that's the kind of things that I always kind of like weirdly forget.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. I would imagine you would. Yeah. Well, I like it is like, okay. Obviously, it's much bigger than like a piercing or something, but it's, I would assume it's something you get accustomed to. You know, where you're just kind of like, you know, this is me, and then like no one gives you shit for a while, and you're like, whatever, and then it just kind of comes up, and you're like, oh, I forgot, and everyone knew, and like whatever, you know.
Yeah, and that's the other. It's like I forget that, like, because I don't really experience a lot of, like, again, I grew up in Iowa, and like past high school, like, I've lived in extremely liberal cities, like, I live in Ames, like, no one gives a shit in Ames, like, it's a college town, like, if you're gonna catch shit for being gay in a college town, like, you're not in the, like, you're, like, Ames is not gonna do, you know, be that, and then Des Moines is,
you're
like,
in a weird area if you're getting shit,
and then Des Moines is the same way, like, you're, like, Des Moines is pretty fucking, like, liberal, like, there's obviously, you know, conservatives everywhere, but there's no, like, well, there was recently, there was a whole situation that was going on, and this was, again, like, kind of brings it, like, that I forget, like, stuff like that's happens. There was this person who was going on Grindr, posing as a gay person and luring people into, like, their home to like attack them.
Fuck.
Yeah, like that shit.
That's what. Fuck. That's just for sure. That's just dangerous. Like, any way you cut it, it's like it's like so that. Like, they thought, like, you know, they thought they were getting sex. Like, who, like, can't blame them. You know,
exactly.
I very well could have been murdered by a few women. You know?
it's just one of those things that you kind of forget, that, like, there are people that are out there that are like, I, you know, want to hurt you for that. Like, and because it never happens to me, which is, you know, fortunate, but also, like, that's why, like, I always have the, you know, the caveat of, like, look, I understand that I do have, you know, the privilege of being a quote unquote straight presenting, but also, like, fuck that shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, just the irony, it hits me so hard of, like, thinking of a guy going on a gay dating site and then being very flirty with men to lure them over to the It's like, how, like, why were you gay until they got there? Like, why, how, like, were you just, like, were you just writhing in your fucking house, like, I can't believe I'm telling this dude I want to suck his dick, like?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's really what it was. It was just a guy, like, trying to, like, get, like, people over to beat him up. Like, that's all. Like, he wasn't, like, you know, secretly, like, oh, I can't, you know, it was just some dude, like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, pretend to be gay so I can beat up gay people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
is
fucking
ridiculous.
Yeah, which, I mean, also, like, dude, if you're doing that shit, like, I got some, you know, I got some truth bomb for that fucking guy. Like, you're gonna have to do some self-exploring. Buddy. Like, Just as a heads up for if you're listening to this somehow, hopefully you've been arrested at some point. But if you are for some reason listening to this, I have some bad news for you, friends.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucking gay.
You're
sure.
fucking gay. And you know what? I like to be a source of truth. So,
Exactly.
so it's great that you can help me carry that on.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, no, that's fucking that. I truly a psychopath. Like,
yeah, no, like complete fucking just
wacko.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking. But yeah, that's so. But yeah, then with that whole, and then with the whole thing of that going out when you started doing comedy, you kind of. Did you kind of keep it on the low for a while?
Yeah, I don't think I dropped it in the scene for like. Oh man, I think that I had. Like I think that you like, since you're a newer comic in the scene, like kind of understand that like it takes a while for anyone to even realize that like you're consistently showing up.
Yeah.
So I think that I was in the scene for like probably 3 or 4 months before I was even really talking to anybody, because I would show up and just I would sit in the audience, I wouldn't say anything to anybody, I'd go up and do my set rather.
I'd do my set.
Yeah, I'd go up and I'd watch. Like this was back when you could be. This is like probably wild for you. Like you could like back when I was first starting, you could show up to Lefties, sit through the entire night, and be home by like 10 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah, like on some nights, like there was like 10 or 12 people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and now it's like what? Like I think yesterday we had like 35 fucking people.
Yeah, it was a long ass list,
which is great. Like I love that this scene is blown up, but like I have distinct memories of like I would show up, there'd be like 15 to 20 was like, oh shit.
Oh, you're good.
15 to 20 people was like, oh man, this is a big night.
Yeah.
Like, and I would sit and watch everyone. And now it's like
there's so many. A lot of times it's like getting fucking like close to midnight. And you're like there's still a good number left, and you're like, I'm gonna do.
Yeah, like I would like back in the day, I would never have thought to even be like, oh, there's too many people, I'm not gonna go up tonight. But last night I was like 30th, and I was like, fuck this. Like,
sometimes you gotta give an exception, like at Teehees and at Tuesday and at Lefties now. Like that, it's like obviously like Teehees is very much the new flavor and new talk of the comedy scene, and like a lot of people are going to support their friends. So by the time you get to like the 11 o'clock spot, most of the place is cleared out.
Just gone.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of support for friends, and like but at the same time, it's like it's like probably comics like leaving that have been doing comedy for a while, so they don't really care about staying. They just come in and go, and so then their friends go with them, and they go bar hopping or whatever it is, and so then like all the comics that haven't got to that point are just like left with like 10 people that actually kind of enjoy comedy or are just comics to tell jokes, but which is fine. Like honestly, it's still fun. Like if you get to go there, it's still fun either way. It's just like
and that's how you're really
just the way the crowd
teeth.
goes. Yeah, exactly.
That's like. If you're going, like, that's the thing is, like, as weird as it is, you're going to learn way more, at least in my opinion, from eating dick than you are from doing, like, doing okay in front of a warm crowd.
Yeah, yep.
Like, if you do okay in front of a small crowd, you ain't going to get shit.
Yep.
But if you do okay in front of, a large crowd, like, just by numbers wise, you're going to get a reaction, and you're not going to learn, like, oh, I told that joke wrong, or I stumbled here or there. Like, you're going to have a misconstrued idea of what you need to work on because you got a reaction, and with a joke, like, that's obviously the end goal. So, like, if you're getting a reaction where you maybe shouldn't, then you're not going to learn as much. But then you go up and you do those late night sets where there's, like, 4 fucking people in the audience, and they don't want to be there.
Not at all.
And if you can get a reaction from those people, then you're like, I got something here.
You're onto something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you can make the people who don't want to, like, really be there, if you can get their attention, that's when you're like, all right, like let's explore that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And bombing is especially important for just getting comfortable.
Oh my god, if you
just getting like fucking like relaxed enough on stage that you can go and deliver.
Oh my god, and now it's so funny because I remember like the first time I ever really ate dicks, like it was the worst fucking, like I just distinctly, I can still remember to this day not like into like full detail, but I like in my head, like I can kind of recreate the exact feeling like in that moment, like on that stage and hearing somebody literally boo.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, like this is just and like literally from that night I was like, I'm gonna work so hard to never have that happen again. I mean, obviously you can never stop from completely bombing, but like it was just one of those things where I was like, man, like that it really makes you work that much harder. Like if you have the fucking guts for it. That's the thing. Is like bombing can either like completely turn you off, or it can fucking just like make your hunger that much worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yep. It can really go a couple ways because like I watched Ray Romano's special. This reminded me of it. He or no, it wasn't his special. He was talking, but I heard him like an interview or something. He was talking about how the first time he did comedy, he did so bad it terrified him to the point that he didn't do it again for a whole year.
Yeah.
And so then so it's like, and then for some people you like, but then like if you're if you're a little crazy like me, you get that bomb and you're like, it'll be better next time.
Exactly.
You're like I just gotta change these things. You just do this, and and then you go, and then you're like, who am I trying to impress? But like. Yeah, exactly. That's a very important thing. That's why you always hear comics really strongly, push that on you. And actually, why we're kind of on that, who are some of your influences in comedy that got you going?
I would weirdly enough, like, I guess I'll go into this. Like, I never really saw myself as getting into stand-up comedy. Like, that was literally like never on my list of like things. Like,
right.
I always loved doing like performance stuff ever since I was a kid. Like when I was in second grade, like I did the talent show. Like when I played in band, I did choir, I did anytime that I could be on stage performing. Like I was about it. Like I did musical theater in like middle school. I did like theater in high school. Like I loved it. I loved all of it. Like
me too. Yeah.
Like me and my buddy had like we were the film club. Like I was always just a fucking like. And I was also a huge writer. That's where kind of my comedy started happening, because like I've been writing little stories since as soon as I could hold a pencil. Like I was, because I used to play with action figures and I'd make these stories for action figures, and then like when I could write stories, I would write stories, and kind of use those storylines, and that turned into like just a love for writing. So I started writing movie scripts and like short stories and really getting into the writing aspect. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a writer. I'm gonna write movies. I'm gonna write TV shows or something like that, or I'm gonna act in TV. I was always like, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be a writer. And then I got into playing guitar, and I'm like, I'm gonna be an independent musician. Like comedy never really even like entered my brain, because I grew up in Iowa. Like
exactly.
There's like stand-up comedy, like
not exactly a bustling scene. Yeah.
Like I think stand-up comedy. I think New York. I think LA. Like I'm never thinking I'm gonna be a comedian starting out in Iowa.
Yeah. No, that's actually exactly how I felt. Like for a long time, there was like, it was just this thing where you like had to have like this cityscape, and then like it didn't even dawn on me that Des Moines had that going until like literally a couple years ago. And then like, because I'd always loved it. Thing was, I just never thought I was funny, and like I was always into music, and so I never really thought of it. Like I was always writing like random shit that I never saw through.
Right.
But I had at least had that experience. So I was like, I had all this shit kind of accumulating to be like, I kind of just like, I like performing. Like it's very pure. It's just me. Like I don't have, and like you can get immediate response. You can do, you can get all that. And you don't have to just like do the song and then at the end hope that when they're clapping, they're actually thinking it was good.
Rather than just like, okay, the song's over, we clap. This is the
this is the part where I clap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like I grew like I watched stand up. That was what was like funny. Like looking back on it, like I was a comedy fan. Like
right.
But I didn't get really into the like classics until I became like actually obsessed with comedy. Like I grew up like it was the normal stuff. Like it was the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. It was Dane Cook. Like
I had my start.
Like it was the stuff that was on Comedy Central. Like I wasn't getting into like deep cut stuff until
Comedy Central was like the place to sit to get your introduction to any kind of comedy, especially stand up. Because like seeing the blue collar guys do like their whole thing together was awesome. Like especially being in Iowa, like I think we all know. So at least one of those four guys, is somewhere in our life, either whether or not we're related to them, and so that was a big draw. And
I remember in middle school, literally, like I would, because this is back when LimeWire was in its fucking prime, and I would download I had literally downloaded like all of the Dane Cook albums, and I would listen to them just like over and over, like. Weirdly enough, like I would listen to comedy albums multiple times,
right?
Even if I knew the jokes, like, and I could recite them by heart. So like. And in my head, like, I learned all these things, and but I didn't really like consider that I was like learning comedic form until like looking back on it, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe, that might have been an egg. But I think honestly, if there's anything that really kind of drove me to be a comedian, or at least influenced my style of comedy, it's Blink-182.
Nice.
Of all things.
Yeah.
When I was like 8 or 9, whatever, I have an older brother who's like 7 years older than I am. So his music was always like, the cutting edge of like, you know, fucking early 2000s.
Right.
So
that's
like
all the glory of having an older brother.
Exactly.
The music you find.
And and so I would just steal his CDs, like not steal, but like we shared a room, but like, you know, he would leave and I would, you know,
exactly.
I would, you know, while he was away, like listen to as much, you know, music I wasn't supposed to as I could. And like, I mean, I was, you know, I was into like Incubus and Korn.
I was stealing his CDs like I was hiding a porno mag.
Oh, it really was, because like my, you know, my parents were, or at least my mom was like, she didn't want me, you know, playing violent video games or listening to like naughty music and all this stuff. So like, I would fucking have to like hide it, like, you know, contraband. Like I was listening to like fucking Eminem and fucking Korn.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
I was just
all
thinking
the
Eminem,
shit.
yeah.
But I found he had the Blink-182 live album.
Oh really?
And in between the songs, they're like, you know, it's a live performance, so they're shitting around and talking shit to each other and just like doing all these stupid immature jokes.
I forgot they did that kind of thing,
and
that was dope.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And to this day, like I love immature, gross toilet humor.
Right.
Like
yeah.
And you know, same with like, you know, just I think there's a lot of charm, especially in today's, where every like, and I, you know, not to shit talk on, you know, current comedy or any current comedians, but like there seems to be this like stray from like silly or like gross. Like people want smart comedy or they want like edgy, like, and I'm like, I want to talk about piss and shit and like try to avoid cum, because like every fucking comic talks about cum, but it's like, no, I'm gonna make fucking like, I'm gonna make shitty comic, like shitty toilet jokes, like I'm gonna make gross jokes because I think it's funny, or like, and you know, they would joke about, they would I got in trouble because of it once, because I didn't realize what it was, but there's a in one of the fucking like little things, the lead singer is talking to the bassist and he's like, don't eat dog semen, I heard it's the #1 cause of bad breath. And I didn't, and I'm like 7 or 8, so I have no idea what dog semen, I have no idea what anything is, so I'm just thinking that's a fun fact to know. So I tell my mom, like, hey, did you know dog semen is the #1 cause of bad breath? And I got in trouble for that, and I was like, I don't even know what I said.
I was trying to help you out, Mom.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool thing.
I don't want your breath stinking.
So yeah, and that
apparently Mom's walking around eating dog cum.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was kind of like, and that's kind of the comedy style that I also, because I have that sort of, like, I have a look where like, because I also, like, again, like, you have to, as a comedian, kind of understand what you look like, understand like what people are gonna think when you look at you, because you, like, if you can't read the audience reading you, then you're never gonna be able to play into them. Like, you have to think ahead of what they're thinking. So I look at myself and I'm like, I look like every soft, like, good, like, Midwestern, like, chill dude. Like, I don't look like I'm gonna stir up trouble. I don't look like I'm, you know, gonna
I give that one to you.
So when so I have this, like, I guess like almost like a boyish charm. So then when I'm talking about, like, you know, naughty, you know, quote unquote, like, it's not it's naughty. And there's a specific charm of like somebody with my kind of, like, you know, I have soft boyish features talking about, you know, gross toilet stuff. It's like there's a weird charm with it where it's like, oh, this guy is just, you know, he knows that he's being coy, but there's also, like, I also bring in, like, I try to bring in intelligence to it. Like, I don't just, you know, tell, like, baseline. Like, I do utilize, like, comedy tricks, like, you know, like misdirection and just, like, hyperbole, and I take all these things that I've acquired over, like, learning different forms and learning, like, stuff like the rule of 3, like misdirection, like stuff like that, where you take comedy form and you apply it and you make a smart shit joke.
Smart. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's all in that craft. Yeah, it's like, and honestly, there's a lot to be said about it. You know, if you can, you know, like, maybe it's a shit joke, but if you got us there in a creative way, it's like, like, oh, you got me.
It's like,
you know?
One of my favorite fucking jokes, where it's like, you ever take a giant shit and you turn around and you look at it and you're like, oh my god, how am I gonna eat all of this? Like, it's such a dumb, like, little thing. It's like, it's dumb. It starts out gross, and then it stays within form, but it's like, oh, I love that. Like, that little, like, weird, like
the little switch. That's fantastic.
There is just always, and I think that's kind of what I love in general. Is it comes down to the same thing with, like, when I like the reveal of being gay.
Yeah, right,
like,
exactly.
Because my whole life, like, again, like, my whole life I've always been like, people think that I'm like some innocent person. Like, I remember in middle school, there was just, like, kind of, I struggle to say white trash, but she was kind of, you know, like, a white trashy, like, girl, but, you know, very nice. But
we all know who, kind of have an image of who we're talking about already.
I was, you know, just hanging out, like, you know, with some of my friends before class or whatever, and I just, you know, I said fuck, like, casually, like, you know, like you do in 7th grade. And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, wait a minute, you swear? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you're like a good kid though. And I was like, no, I
like
just
a good kid.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Is like, I was like, no, dude, like you can play the fucking system. Like you don't always have to be an asshole to the teachers.
Right,
like,
yeah.
dude, if the teachers think you're a good kid, then that's what counts. You don't have to actually be good. Like,
that's what I learned. That's that. If you can learn that at a young age, you figure out life so much better. Like just like because then you can learn to read the fakers too.
Oh my God.
You can actually manage the other people that are just putting on a face for you. It's like, okay, I get what you're doing.
Yep.
Let's just meet me on my level here.
It's yeah, and like once I got really, and I feel like a fucking psycho for fucking. It's like I was like 12 or 13 when I realized like, oh, I can just manipulate these people into thinking that I actually give a shit.
Yeah.
Duh, I'm just gonna pretend like I give a shit. Dude, one of my fucking teachers in high school
Learn some key phrases and some words to throw out there. You're gold.
I literally passed 2 classes in high school because the teacher said, I can tell you're trying and you really care. I was like, I do.
Did you have like an F?
No.
Would you have had an F if there was no sympathy from this teacher? Do you think you're doing that bad?
Oh, dude. I mean, maybe not an F, but like
you'd have been low.
It would have like there was no reason I should have had a B-. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
like I shouldn't have had a C. Like,
wow. Okay.
Like,
so yeah, so definitely really put some perspective on it.
Like literally one of my teachers in high school, fucking, I was a senior and I should not have passed like my algebra because I'm horrendously bad at math. Like
right.
Like to the point
I'm
where
not good at either.
Like could not like just impossible. Like brain doesn't work that way. And the only thing that really saved me is like. I think that I got so frustrated with the fact that I didn't get it and I was like failing all these fucking tests.
Yeah.
So, but I would show up after class and I would like actually kind of be like, I don't fucking understand this, and would like show up to like a couple tutor sessions.
Yeah.
And my algebra teacher was like, by all means, you did not pass my class, but you're not stupid and I can't let you fail fucking high school. Like, I'm gonna give you this grade, but just promise me you're not gonna go into math in college.
No fucking way.
Because that was the other thing too. Is like all the teachers that I've ever met like kind of were like like he's like smart, but he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the idea. They were like, all right, like he's gonna go to college. So my teacher was literally just like I'm not gonna fuck your life up by failing you and making you repeat senior year. Like, but fuck's sake, please don't go into math.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. I just thought back on some of the teachers I had. Anyway,
hot mic.
Hot mic. But that was hot minute. There was, but I was that's what I was trying to think of. But then I knew one teacher that was actually caught fucking with with a dude that I was friends with at the time.
Oh no!
And he was a math teacher. He was like the geometry teacher, and we did algebra. He did all that shit. And he was like, he had like these tight curly these tight curls and like the small fro that like never changed size in the years that I had that like I saw him in the halls, and he just like he had like a weird air about him, and then when that happened, you're like, oh, that's what it is. Like he's like you're just like you like fucking with kids, like it literally didn't matter because like I was at least at this point where I would go into the tutor things after at the end of the day, and like going where it's like how's that going? Like we'll go over all the shit that's gonna be on the math test the next day. I would leave there being like, man, yeah, I'm gonna kill it. I get all this shit, and then I would show up to the test the next day, and I'll be like, we didn't go over any of this. Like that's how I get guaranteed I was missing something, but like where I should have been able to get it. But like I went in feeling like we hadn't like it was completely new. Like they were like, okay, no, that was yesterday.
Oh Jesus,
it was fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that was. And I think that literally all that saved me was the fact that like I would show up to these tutor sessions, my teacher would be like watch me just completely like just space every single thing that she'd put in front of me, like
here. Yeah.
Like just, and she could just see it in my eyes like there's literally no traction, like I'm so fucking stuck in the mud, like it's pointless to even try to like tow me out at this point.
Yep.
So I think that like when
early onset senioritis.
And this is it since like past fucking basic. Just anytime, like I could do like obviously like the simple shit, but like once it got to the point where I started having to graph shit, I was like, look, my handwriting is so piss poor that like I've literally had my mom like get like legitimately angry about how bad my handwriting is. So like when I'm doing math and I'm plotting these fucking points out, it's like it's gonna look like a fucking toddler drew this. Like it's not going to point up with anything that it should.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So like even if I got the fucking math right, my graph is gonna look fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So like, you're just gonna have one of the words. You can't have both. You You can't have both things. And that was also and that was something I kind of I was kind of proud of because like I was really artistic.
Right.
I was autistic, and but I used to draw a lot, and so I kind of had and so even to today, it helps being like that I'm taking writing more seriously now. But like even to today, like I've always thought that I've had pretty good fucking handwriting. So I'm like, the answer might be wrong,
but it looks
it looks great.
Yes.
It looks right.
That's why like I'm so like honestly I think that the biggest thing that saved me in public education was the fact that like most things that we did as far as writing wise were done on computers. Because by all other fucking means, I probably would have had people look at me and be like, "Is this person like actually all there? Like, this person might just be a fucking idiot."
Special case here.
Yeah, like this guy, like, because my handwriting, like, by all means, like, legitimately looks like a fucking child's handwriting.
Really?
Like, it's so bad.
Oh fuck yeah.
And
it's never anything. Bad handwriting has never affected me. Unless from anyone else has never affected me unless I have been working with them, like side by side. Because like I work with a guy who has real bad handwriting, and since they give us like it's not really his fault that the little lines that they give us at the bottom of the inspection sheets after we go over the vehicle. I work on Honda, right. just to fill in the gaps. But I inspect it, and there's a little thing. In the bottom, you write your notes of like what's wrong. It's not exactly the biggest area,
right?
But like it's a hit. But his handwriting is not meant for like
small,
like a normal sized area for people to write. Like, as it is, and so. no offense, Colton.
Yeah,
but like, but like I've met a lot of people with bad handwriting, so it's not like it's anything new. But
right.
It's always stressful because it's things that are wrong with the vehicle that need to be mentioned and taken note of, and then I have to try to read it back
with it, like,
and when he writes it, it's almost like he's writing it as a reminder for himself to then tell you, because there's half the time I'm like either there's a giant hole in the exhaust or he needs his wipers replaced. Like
I have no idea what this is.
Exactly. This could be anything. This might just say needs new car. Like,
I had a situation with my mom where she was like, because I paid for the whatever H&R Block to like get my taxes. Not like I didn't pay a person, but like you have to pay $30 to do like the state, and then like you have to pay an additional $30 to fucking submit your HSA bullshit, which I didn't even get any money back from my HSA, which was fucking nonsense. I literally just wasted $30.
Fuck yeah.
So I spent $60 to do my fucking taxes, whatever, like, it's fine. So, but I'm talking to my mom about it, and she's like, you can do them for free by hand. And I'm like, really? You want me, your son, to do these by hand? And she's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Don't do that. I was like, yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
She's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, like as soon as I mentioned, I was like,
really?
Have
to do your taxes again?
Yeah, she's like, you want me? I was like, I really did just look at her like, you want me? Like, you really me to do my taxes by hand? And she was like, oh shit, right? Fucking
think
idiots.
about who you're talking to, Mom.
It's like, she got my fucking idiot son and his fucking. It's
exactly.
I've never had great fine motor skills, I guess, ever. Like, I can't fucking cut. Like, that was another thing. I remember I had a senior project that I had to do, and I had to cut like pieces of cardboard paper to make like a fucking poster, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And I couldn't cut on a straight. My mom was watching me fucking like try to cut stuff out, and I cannot cut on a straight like on a line.
Is it like really bad, or is it just like wavy?
It's real wavy.
It's really wavy.
Like and again it's I don't know what it is. I think one theory that I have is that like I was meant to be left-handed, and just like through like the like school system and also just in general, like I kind of got like forced into being right-handed, and it never worked out correctly.
Right.
But like my mom literally like was like, stop cutting, I'm gonna fucking cut these because like you're giving me anxiety.
That's hilarious.
Like my fine motor skills are like literally worse than a fucking third grader's.
Fuck, I never thought about that before, but I'm kind of I've always been, like I said, I was real artsy, and so and one thing I learned about myself at a very young age was that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah. And so dude, like, because like that's the thing, like when I did something, it was more like, I think a lot of it came from the stress of it being worse. Like I never got like, because like because through my life I'd always notice like, you'd have the kids that did get recognition or like they were like got a lot of props on the thing they made because it looked so good. So I was always like, fuck, I gotta make it look like amazing. And then I was never happy with anything I did because I was always like, there's just a little something here or there that I could have changed. It's like it didn't matter if it was a school project or what, I always just was like, no, this is no good.
Yeah, sorry, I had to respond to something.
Yeah, get off your fucking phone, Matt.
Yeah, I know I'm the worst fucking guest right now.
Fuck.
Oh, I'm the worst. But yeah, no,
yeah, you're fine.
I have my hand-eye coordination was always where like I had that, but yeah, I'm so glad that I don't like. I think
I
also
might end up doing my kids' projects a lot for them. I'll be like, that looks like shit. Let me do it.
I think that's the other reason that I never ended up being a perfectionist is because like and I love my mom to death, but she's very like everything in its place and a place for everything kind of person, and I'm very much not. Like I'm like I'm like, hey, I know exactly where my mess fucking is. Like, don't touch my shit. Like it looks like a pile of junk to you, but I know exactly
chaos.
Like I know exactly what is where. Like I distinctly remember like, oh, I remember I dropped a fucking like thing of chapstick behind my fucking like I know where shit is until you fucking touch it, and then I'm like, where's my stuff?
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's not just because it's organized doesn't mean I know where the fuck it is.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, dude, I know exactly how that feels. Yeah, like my family's never been exactly organized. It's always been like it's around.
Yeah,
it's here somewhere.
It's I cannot. But yeah, I also like think that my left brain was definitely because I think left brain's the creative side, right?
I believe so. Yes.
And I bat left-handed even though I'm right-hand dominant.
Really?
Yeah, like I stood on the because in my brain.
So that could be a sign with the left-handed writing thing too.
Well, because I guess and also this might because I grew up playing baseball. That was like my sport. I still like to this day like have very fond memories of. I mean, at the time, didn't really like it because I would have always rather have been playing with my friends or playing video games. But like looking back on it, like fond memories of like I enjoyed the fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
no, exactly.
There's definitely a lot of like
not
bullshit like showing up to practice.
Still a sport.
And, yeah,
exactly.
So, but I guess when I was a kid, like I kept standing because like if you're facing forward. The right side of the plate is where left-handed batters are. It didn't make sense in my fucking head.
Right.
So I was like, I use my right hand. I'm gonna stand on this right side, and I like my right side facing stuff. Like just in general, if you like, and this is just a fun fact about me. If you won't ever notice, I always have my right eye usually pointing at stuff. Like it's different now because like just the way we're sitting.
Yeah.
But like generally speaking, I like focus my vision like with the like right facade of my face facing whatever I'm looking at rather than like direct on for some fucking reason.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's just like a weird depth perception.
I'm gonna be like you'll like catch me like looking at you like just like spacing off just like you said you did that thing and then you'll just be looking at me like oh shit sorry.
Like I like if I was like looking at that symbol like I'm looking at it like head on it fucks with my depth perception, but if I tilt my head just enough then it lays level.
You're like an owl.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's I can't look at stuff like head on. Otherwise, I like, get like kind of like a weird double vision situation. Not like full on, but like just enough where I'm like, I gotta fucking tilt my head just a little bit.
That's really interesting. That's very interesting. Like,
probably have brain damage. I don't know. I took a lot of headers as a kid.
Oh yeah, well that's why fuck yeah. So it turns out you got CTE, and now you got to look at things from the side like you're a fucking bird.
We used to have this fucking. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that I was able to pull this fucking distinct memory. We used to have this like. It was just like a shelf in our kitchen. It was like there was the wall to our living room. There was that like separated between the kitchen and the like living room, and then on that wall there was a shelf. And when I was a kid, like I was young enough to like walk under it for years without fucking problems. And then as soon as I started getting taller, I would turn corners and just rail my fucking head into this. And I did it honestly probably weekly. Like I was like, and I think that the more
so accustomed.
Yeah, and until after a while, I finally fucking figured out like stop. Smacking my fucking head into this thing. But
eventually the pain reminds you.
I hit my head so fucking much as a kid. There's no way I don't have brain damage.
Something's going on in there.
I also played, for some reason, my dumb skinny body thought it would be smart to play football in 7th grade.
Fun.
When everybody's either huge or my size.
Yeah, it's a very polarizing time. Yeah.
And
I think that's about when I tried tackle football. It was like 5th, 6th grade. Yeah.
All my friends were fucking playing football, and I was like, I'm gonna play football. I can totally do it. Because I just at that age you don't realize how physically limited you are yet. At least I mean some smarter people might have, but my fucking dumb brain was like I could play football. Well,
yeah. Well, it's like at that point it's not probably not as common to realize your physical differences like how I also
assumed that they would have put me on offense was the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, they'll make me like a short, like
you're gonna be running.
Yeah, like run short passes, stuff like that. Like something that's not gonna be blocking the other fucking team with my small body. No, they made me a fucking corner. I think that my coach is just trying to get me to quit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he's like, you're a corner, and I'm like, fucking great, thanks. This is fantastic.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
as a football coach, they knew what they were doing.
Like, who the fuck am I stopping? Not a goddamn person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it kind of was like a husky kid. So I kind of had some weight behind me. I could just like, nah, but I didn't care.
Dude,
so then I'd just be like, all right.
I think I probably weighed like fucking 110 pounds in 7th grade. I was so goddamn small.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been this like my current size since like sophomore year in high school.
Nice.
I have been just this lithe, skinny piece of shit. I think that
I'm on the same level with you, man. I've been the same size for like years now. I'm just like, fuck.
I've tried to get like the heaviest I think I've ever been is like 145 pounds.
Really?
And that was when I was like jacked. Because I was on the swim team. I swam fucking I would swim like 2,000 yards every fucking day.
I feel like you're kind of built for swimming. Then that's a good. Feels like that's a good aim for you.
Yeah, I definitely have a swimmer's build, except for the fact I can't kick.
Don't have a lot of
I could
not a lot of traction, but no kicking power.
Yeah, but that was the fucking crazy part is like I couldn't kick for shit. But I still would I would never really crush it because again, without your legs, you're not gonna get your full strength. But I never really did badly. Like I'd get second or third, and nice. Whatever race I was in, using almost entirely my fucking arms.
That's insane.
Yeah, like I would just
you're just by fucking pulling yourself through the water.
My upper arm strength was fucking stupid for I mean, given it was also my size, but,
kind of seems like that was always a weird thing about swimming to me too, because I was fine with swimming and I didn't I wouldn't worry. I never worried about drowning or whatever, but
right.
Whether it be in a lake or some shit. But that was always it's a weird thing that you definitely have to do a lot to get used to having your whole body in tune to doing something. And so I feel like if I had pursued swimming, I would have been just doing the same shit where I'm putting too much focus in my arms or too much in my legs and my arms aren't doing anything. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, swimming is if you don't do the whole full body, you're not going to get the full benefit. But also really if you can swim at all, you're fine. The big thing that I remember learning, because I remember there was a pre-practice tryout thing for the swim team, which if you try out for a fucking high school swim team and you don't get on it, you either have a fucking team that a school that actually has gives a shit about their swim team, or you just you just have no business.
Exactly, you just no business. Yeah, exactly.
Because it really it's the same thing as track. If the track team is we don't want you, you got something else fucking going on.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. Yeah,
they just want fucking bodies.
Yeah, they just want bodies. Just want them bodies.
They just want fucking people to be there.
They want some hairless bodies and some title speedos with some bleachy hair.
Oh my god, that was the fucking worst part. Is when your parents would come watch you fucking swim.
and you're naked.
Yeah, well, luckily, the Speedos we wore were, basically just, compression underwear. They came down to about, a little bit above your knee.
Right on.
But it was still, you'd get out of the pool, and your dick would be vacuum sealed by this fucking thing. So it's what up, audience of parents? Here's my penis. Hooray.
Everyone's familiar with how everyone on the swim team is endowed because of because of compression shorts.
Which one of my other fucking jokes is I was I did theater and I was on the swim team and my parents were still shocked when I came out. I think they weren't crazy shocked. I think they'd kind of pieced it together. They're not dumb people, but
right?
It was
they were it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think there was just kind of one of more of those, just oh Jesus God,
right.
he has none of the other symptoms. We're so confused. What the fuck is our son?
He's not the old stereotype parents. He's not lisping. He dresses normally.
Well, they just I just dressed or whatever the fuck they I would have
right. They did kind of buy your
exactly
to a certain age.
Dude, my parents still fucking buy most of my clothes.
Me too.
Dude, if it was up to me, I would just fucking wear or at least when
I would only wear compression shorts.
Yeah. Oh, dude, no, fucking. I swear to God. I started that was the one thing buying nice underwear. Holy fuck, dude, your life will change.
Yeah, it does.
I fucking my underwear
Never
drawer.
realized what could be.
Dude, my underwear drawer cost more than fucking probably most of my wardrobe.
I don't blame. See, it's it's one of those things where if you haven't tried it, you're why? But then you try it and you're I don't blame you.
Yeah, no. When people are oh, dude, you spent $15 on one pair of underwear, I can get 17 pairs for fucking $5.
You're gonna hate hate all 17 of those pairs of those underwear.
Like, do you hate your dick, dude?
Yeah. Are you trying to chafe your balls clean?
It's like people are always like adjusting their nuts and like scratching like, oh, my dick itches, and I'm like, yeah, it's because you're wearing fucking the scratchiest fucking possible.
Exactly.
Like, dude, go buy yourself one pair of nice underwear from American Eagle, and your life will change forever.
Right, exactly. There was like I still haven't checked it out, but like MeUndies is advertised on 100 podcast, and it's like I had someone on who told me that the MeUndies underwear, like he said they're like $30-$40 a piece. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I got to look into those, but like I don't know why it's a thing where like by now I have had 100 million chances to actually like verify that information. Still way doggy. There was yeah. There actually while we're well, I mean, obviously underwear's not the transition, but we're but I got thinking about just like obviously the transition to like to like what we're like finding these new things. Because earlier we were kind of on it with comedy, we were like I had no idea, and then like it kind of came up. Now we're here, and then and so like and like with podcasts, is the same thing with me. And obviously, you have your podcast, Monster Jamboree.
Yeah.
And so not to too drastically change course of conversation here, but let's get into that. How long has Monster Jamboree been going now?
We're this week when we record this week, it'll be our 60th episode.
Oh, nice. Hell
so
yeah.
I don't know exactly the exact span of time, but it'll be 60 episodes. So I guess however, because a week like. I'd say about 2 years would be give or take.
Right on.
Just with
sounds
breaks.
like about a 2-year kind. If I remember the ad. Yeah.
And it's Monster Jamboree started like weirdly enough. I met my current co-host for that at a Renaissance fair.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's fun.
So I was meeting up with a group of friends to go to a Renaissance fair because I'd never been. And this dude tagged along, and like we just started talking. We got along real great, and I was like, oh shit. And he was also gay, so I was like, oh shit, like maybe this will go somewhere. And then like we went on a date or two or whatever, and I was just like, this is like we're like just that spark or whatever of like romance never really hit for me. So I was like, oh, we could just be friends, and
right.
So we just became friends, and we both loved horror movies. We still love horror movies. Like looking back on how many fucking different horror movies I've watched just for the show alone, and on top of the stuff that we haven't talked about. Like I like horror movies have always like longer than fucking comedy. Honestly, like I've liked horror movies.
Hell yeah. Has that always been? Have you always like obviously you were talking about like your parents they like try to keep you away from like watching and listening to certain stuff. Or horror movies one of those things, or they're like they didn't encourage it per se?
Oh yeah,
so
no, I had
took
to
you a while to get into it.
Well, so I was a very scaredy child.
Oh yeah.
Like I was terrified of the dark. I had to sleep with the nightlight on. Like I fucking afraid to go into the closet when it was dark. Like I was very. I also grew up in a haunted house. like I grew up in a haunted house, and my parents didn't tell me until after we fucking after I'd like grown up a lot and moved out of that house. But like I guess that like and I had a lot of nightmares as a kid, like really intense nightmares. It like and that's why I didn't like the dark, and I didn't like bedtime because it always meant like I'm gonna get the fucking shit scared out of me. So after a while, it turned into like and again like in a less fucking mature thought, but basically it was like, well, if I'm gonna be afraid of these things, I could get fat, I could get interested in them
right
instead. So then that turned into this.
I should at least know what I'm being fucked with by.
Yeah, and once I started getting more fascinated with the like paranormal and stuff like that, my nightmares got more like they were less about monsters and more like tornadoes. Have always kind of like, and to this day, like for some reason, tornado dreams are like my big like.
Really?
Those are my big like recurring nightmare type dreams. Is
do you ever look into the symbolism of those kind of things at all?
From what I understand, tornadoes represent like the feeling of being overwhelmed by chaos, which I kind of have like anxiety a decent bit, like not terrible. Like I don't think that I have like an anxiety disorder or anything like that, but like I do struggle from frequent anxiety at the worst or whatever.
Totally.
So I think that when things are kind of like nuts in my life and I'm feeling a little out of control, or like when things just are like really just going fucking nutso, I'll have a fucking tornado dream.
Yeah.
But just as a kid, I think it was like the helplessness also of like the fear of like what's gonna happen if my house fucking breaks down, like just those weird fears where because I'm not and again like I don't know if it was just like because I was a weird kid, but just like that like there was that like kind of subtle knowledge that I had of like I don't own this house. Like I just live here. Like I don't really have any control over what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
So like that feeling of kind of helplessness, I think, kind of contributed to that.
That's a bit. Yeah, that is definitely a very that I've at least from like memory, a big factor, and at least things that like haunt you for a long time is like, because plus like when you have that expectation, your brain isn't with all that anticipation of your brain going into that. It's like I can only imagine that pushes it further into the likelihood, and so yeah, that's it. Yeah, like and like I can I can definitely relate to you on the anxiety part. I take a daily medication to like deal with mine, and so no shame, and I and so I But yeah, I said, but and so coming into nightmares, that would be hard. That would have been hard. It's like I've never been the biggest dreamer, like regardless of when I smoked weed, when I started smoking weed or not. Like
weed will just destroy any dreams you have left.
Exactly. So yeah, so the one a year I was having already, it's like
just
who
gone.
misses it? Who I didn't miss it. So it's like it's always weird shit. It was like it wasn't weird like it was a crazy story. I had a couple where it was like something insane. Like I've had one lucid dream.
Oh, nice.
And then, but then, and then I've had like one that was like especially insane, and then the rest of it were all shit. Where I was like, oh wait, that was just a dream. Why do I have such boring fucking dreams that I'm just like I just thought it was another day, It's like nothing happened. All right.
I've been a very like vivid dreamer ever since I can remember. Like to the point where when I was a kid, it was almost like. I have distinct memories of dreams I had when I was real young. Like that's how, like to the point like I can remember in detail some of the like wild shit that I saw like in my dreams as a kid, just because they were like so fucking like it. And I'm not like not to get like too woo woo or anything like that, but like I kind of like, especially now like with some of the like experiences I've had and just the like looks into like just different like religions and philosophies that I've studied, like the idea of reincarnation and shit like that, and like how. I don't think that I'm like some, fucking particularly advanced soul, but I definitely think that like I think that I definitely am further along in a reincarnation than like a new soul, if that makes sense. So I think that like some of the weird like fears I had as a kid were so complex that like kind of it made me a weird person, because I would dream about shit that like didn't really make sense as to why it was like for example, one of my fucking most prevalent dreams that I remember, and this was when I was like 4 years old. I was in my room, and I like walked out, and I was like in a house that was not my house, but like in the dream I was like, oh, this is my house. Yeah. But like it was this huge fucking mansion type house.
Wow.
And I walked down the stairs, and like all these fucking doors started falling off their hinges, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then I walked into the kitchen, and my mom was like there, but like it was very eerie. Like she looked like my mom and talked like my mom, but like I could tell like there was something fucked up.
Yeah.
And then she's like, we're going to the park, and I just knew something was gonna go fucking wrong at the park. And then like we left the house, and like I woke up after that, but I just like distinctly remember.
Tough fuck.
Yeah, and like just those kind of and then they would also like blend into reality. Like,
ooh,
I was like real sick one day. I think I was probably like 5 or 6, and I was like in my bed. And I remember like I was so convinced that it was like reality, because I was like in my bed, and I started hearing like carnival music, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And I like lifted my fucking like blanket, and there was like a fucking whole miniature like carnival world, like
Jesus.
When I lifted my fucking blanket up.
Fuck.
Yeah, like
fucking bringing a whole new meaning to pitching a tent.
Dude, it was fucking trippy as shit. Do you remember? Do you ever watch like Nickelodeon with? Do you remember Stick Stickly at all?
I remember. I do remember Stick Stickly. It's like it's not like it's like. It didn't have the longest running thing, but it's still. But
yeah, it was just like a weird like popsicle stick with the googly eyes. Like at one point, I was in my bed and fucking Stick Stickly came up to the end of my bed, and I was like, "That's not supposed to fucking be there." Like,
you're not real. You're not real.
So like that was kind of the weird shit.
Are you supposed to be a Nickelodeon?
Yeah, like that. It was. That's how my fucking brain was like getting all fucked up. It was like. I didn't have like dreams of like, oh no, like there's a monster. It was always like these weird like overarching like conceptual nightmares.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and I think that to this day, like that's where my fascination with horror came from, and why like I never really subscribed to a particular religion, just because like, and again I sound like a fucking nut because this is all in retrospect, but as a kid again I wasn't like thinking this high level about this shit, but like looking back I'm like, oh wow, like that's kind of strange that as a kid I had these like cognizant ideas of like, oh, that's not supposed to fucking happen.
That would, I get like, I know I'm not surprised at all. That would make you question some shit for sure. Like especially when especially at such a young like developmental age, and you see it start fucking like it's like I was sick a lot as a kid. Like it was just like all this like as soon as it was introduced to me, my body was like fuck, and then it would just panic, and it's like we gotta get it out. So I was like really sick. And it was like for like a short time, that'd be good. Won't get it again. So it's just like and so I had like I never really had one of those moments in particular, but I do remember having days where I was so sick and it would just be like fucking like it was just like nothing seemed real. It was all a haze, and you're just like fuck, like like fucking to imagine having the like dreams fade into reality, because obviously that's like it's very much it's like a like that's where you find yourself on that like middle plane where you're kind of like aware of yourself, but also your brain can't comprehend what's in front of it, so it starts creating images because you're still like you got to see something, and so that's fucking to picture that sounds like a Salvador Dali painting.
It's to this day I still remember dreams from a kid. I still have fucking really vivid dreams. I had a fucking like it wasn't a nightmare, but it was just like a really bizarre dream last night.
Yeah,
I fucking for some reason. So my dream last night was I for some reason was naked at Walmart. But it wasn't like a big deal.
That was normal. That was the normal part of the dream.
No, like literally, like I just remember I was like naked and like it was just a chill thing. But then I was like, I should probably put some clothes on. Like I do have work to do because I apparently also worked at Walmart. And I worked in like one specific corner of Walmart. Like I didn't work for the rest of the Walmart. I worked in like bikes and paint. It was like my corner.
Bikes and paint.
Yeah, it was. And the paint, I think, is because I used to work in the paint department at Menards.
Okay, there you
go. I think it's just in my brain, like bikes and paint.
Bikes need paint.
So I worked at this fucking Walmart, and I was like, man, like I sure love my fucking job at Walmart. It's barely, and they were like, technically, you don't even have to do anything. And I was like, that's cool. Like, yeah, and that was my fucking dream. Was I was just casually naked at Walmart.
Stand here and diddle myself all day in the corner of Walmart.
That's pretty much what my fucking dream was. So that's why, like, I stopped trying to interpret my dreams after a while, because I was like, my brain just makes up nonsense.
No kidding. Fuck, dude, that's crazy.
But anyways, this all
shit.
So my fascination with horror, though, to fucking finally wrap it back around. It started when I was like, I don't know. Like I said, I had an older brother, and him and one of my older cousins were in the like someone's I don't remember exactly where it was, but like they were watching the Blair Witch Project, and they like came into the room, and they're like, no, you're not allowed to be in here. You can't watch this movie. And I was like, well, fuck you guys, like. And then I just like kept trying to like sneak in and like sneak peeks to like watch this fucking movie, because like of course you tell a fucking kid no,
I'm asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like you tell a kid no, they want to fucking they want to do it that much more.
They want to know why it's no.
So I fucking I think I snuck down and like watched part of it, and I was like just freaked me out a little bit. But of course I never told my parents like I was freaked out, because I was like I didn't want to get in trouble. But then I was like. I think I was, I don't know, probably about 12, 13 when my parents were like, fine, like you can fucking watch PG-13 movies. We don't like, like that. Like I
had
that
you're 13.
Yeah, I had the kind of parents that were like, I mean, there were some like obvious exceptions, but like by the time, like when I had those kind of like, or at least that kind of mom where it was like, all right, like you're old enough now, like you can watch, and I was like, horror movies, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, get into it.
And first one I was like allowed to rent, because that was the other thing, is I had an older sister, so like whenever we would rent movies, we had to pick one together.
Yeah.
But then when, she started, going out with her friends more, and I was allowed to just pick movies myself, that was when I could really fucking go off. But I remember the first one that I picked was fucking Poltergeist.
Ooh, that's a classic.
Oh yeah. And that was it. I went immediately from Poltergeist to fucking The Exorcist. Like just the hardest shift.
That is a fucking hard shift.
And
yeah.
that was when I was hooked,
but at the same time, it's not like you knew that you had to build yourself up. You know? It's like
I just remember like being in middle school, loving these fucking horror movies, and then inviting my friends over to watch horror movies on like my birthday and stuff like that, and they'd be like, can we watch fucking anything else?
Please, God.
Like, why are you why is this fun for you? And I was like, these aren't even that like.
Dude, yeah. Because I think I have definitely gone through some obsessions, and so I know how you felt with horror movies is probably how I felt with My Chemical Romance when I was an emo kid in middle school and in high school and whatever until they broke up.
Right.
And so like but I think we all have the thing. I always I definitely had that strong urge to share it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't want to annoy everybody. And
Yes.
but then you would have those people who would like be obsessed with their thing, and they didn't think they were annoying anybody. And because like I worked at Poncheros for a while,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so like don't go there just because I mention them. They don't pay us.
Yeah.
But it just
no free advertisements.
Exactly, no free ad space. But because it's accurate to the story, I worked there with multiple kids that I went to school with, and one of them played Green Day obsessively.
Oh,
like he would put Green Day on the speaker, and it would be that for 8 hours, and then and I would be like, and then like sometimes you could like at first like for like very short period of time you're kind of like cool, like rock out to Green Day, whatever, get into it, like you're like people are having fun, your friends into it, and then after a little bit you're like anything else. Fucking anything else, please. Like it just put on opera. I don't care. Just change
no more
the
fucking
pace.
Green Day,
Yeah, please. Like it's not like their song. Because like and again, don't get me wrong. Green Day's fine, but
exactly.
I'm more of a fan of back in the day Green Day.
Yes.
And so
like an American Idiot, man.
Yeah, like that's where I was introduced to him, and so then
So
like.
good.
Exactly, and so yeah, but at some point, all their songs sound the fucking same.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say it, but like you can only do so much.
it's pop punk. Like it all just fucking wraps up into the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that being said, I have Dookie on vinyl because I'm that fucking guy.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, let's see, Dookie was a great album though. It's older, but I haven't. I totally agree with that. That's something I would have.
Exactly,
so I can't. I got. That's fucking. If I could think of something that would be funny to give you a hard time with, I would, but I can't. Like so, it's just I won't.
No, I vinyl is definitely one of those things where like. That's the other thing is I don't like some of my hobbies I 100% just keep to myself, and like collecting vinyl I'm just like I know this is an annoying thing, so I'm just gonna shut up about it.
So pretentious.
That's literally what it is I'm just like, god damn it, like I realize how fucking much of an asshole I am, but like it does sound better.
That's true, man. It's like you got it's a great sound.
It's also like my thing with I love albums. Like
right.
Like I mean I listen to music like piecemeal, song by song for whatever, like but like I love a good top to bottom album.
Big time.
So that's why I love vinyls. It's because like you throw it on and you're not. It's not a mixtape. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're starting from the top and you're ending it.
You start from the top, you end up at the bottom. It's like the total opposite direction that Drake ended up going with his life.
Exactly. He started from the bottom. Now he's there. I start from the top and then you get to the center and then you're like, God damn it, I have to flip this fucking thing.
Exactly. So it's
especially when you're fucking. Oh, dude.
Started from the top and now we got to the center. Now we got to flip it over and now we got the top again.
Fuck. The worst part is when there's like multiple fucking discs and discs, records, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Like,
right.
My buddy for Christmas bought me Deja Entendu by by Brand New.
Brand New.
Yeah.
Brand New 82.
Brand New 82. Yeah, they're my one of my favorite bands. I have to put an asterisk next to them, like the Astros and their World Series title now, though.
Oh, really?
Well, because with fucking, do you know anything about Brand New?
I know they're a band.
Fair. The lead singer admitted to doing some not so great stuff with some less than legal girls. So. Yeah, that's
he was living a little up to the name, was he?
Exactly.
Name the 10. Turns out the name Brand New was had a few layers to it.
So that's why, like, I call them one of my favorite bands, but they're not officially on my top 5 anymore. It's like,
right. They're a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, they're one of those like, goddamn. It's like fucking listening to the Smiths. It's like, all right, like,
right, yeah.
I know Morrissey's a piece of shit, but fucking sing me to sleep. Like, it's a great fucking song, guys.
Right. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Morrissey was like, that's one of those names you hear from anyone who with black hair. Like, he's just like, literally, you know who Morrissey is without. Fucking like ever listening to him, but again, you find out he's an asshole, and you're like, oh,
and you're like, God fucking damn it,
like shit, he was so popular though.
Yeah, you have to like again, it's one of those I call them asterisk bands because it's like, look, I'm gonna fucking still listen to except like because it's the same thing. It's like I know people that still fucking bop to fucking Michael Jackson. It's like you sometimes you just gotta be like, all right, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like
I'm just gonna enjoy this.
I know, yeah, like and the whole thing with exactly. And like when it comes to MJ, I'm just so far removed from it because I was never in any era where he became like this big thing to me.
Yeah,
I was just like it was just like you would like I was like, okay, he is an icon. Doesn't matter. And then he was like, okay, and then he did this thing. Like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then I move on. Like, because I like it's like it was bad. That's not to take away from the severity of what he allegedly or did do or whatever the case may be. I'm not informed, but still.
I grew up only knowing Michael Jackson as a like like as a fucking like a social thing. I didn't know him for his music at the time.
Is needed, yeah.
Like he fucking like he was always just, it was on the news or like in like South Park and stuff like that. I knew him because of fucking like TV. I didn't
Pop
know him because of his
culture,
music. Because like I listen to CDs. I hated still to this day. I don't listen to the radio. I don't
either.
Like I hate censored music. I hate music being. There's one thing that happened from like that I attribute to the radio, and that was I found like Hobo Johnson got some radio play.
Oh, I know Hobo Johnson.
Yeah, and
I recently learned about Hobo Johnson.
Yeah, he had one song in there, and I was like, this song kind of fucking bangs. Like,
right.
I like this. And same with Portugal the Man had that one song that now I can't fucking stand anymore because it got, played to death.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I love discovering music. Like, I also
Me too.
Like music is another like. But again, it's one of those other personal hobbies. Like, music to me is very like, I don't really share it with people. I'm not like, oh, like you should like. I mean, I do like if it's people that like share. Like, I'm really into emo music. Like,
yeah.
But like pop emo, sure, like I enjoy it. But like, I've really gotten into like 90s and fucking like 80s, like mostly 90s emo and like.
Totally, yeah.
Like proper fucking.
It's a different sound.
Yeah, it's very well because like. Proper actually, because when I say like emo music, people think like, oh, my chem and like shit. Like, I'm like, no, like yes, that's pop emo. It's like saying that like fucking Blink-182 is punk. It's like, all right, like they're pop punk. Like it's not the same fucking thing. Like it is and it isn't.
It is. Yeah, there's like aspects to each of them making these groups, but there's but there's like the ones that gave them their influence.
Exactly, the shit like fucking like. And into there's still like great emo bands to this day that are still coming out. Like literally on the way here, I fucking listened to a Japanese band called Envy. Just dropped an album this year. I don't know a fucking word that they're saying, but like you hear it. Like they're like a Japanese screamo band, and like I don't know. Again, like they're not speaking English, so I don't know what the fuck they're angry or sad about. But like you feel it when they're in their like just the way that they're singing it. There's also this French band. I think it's called like Ditro or something like that.
Okay.
Same situation. They're fucking French. I have no idea what they're saying, but the music is beautiful and the way that they're singing is beautiful. And it's like I don't need to hear your words to understand your emotions. That's why I fucking love emo.
Right. Yeah.
It's because it's like. I don't need to necessarily be like, oh, I mean, again, words help, but like the whole part of emo is the emotion rather than like necessarily the words. Which again, words are very important, but yeah, like emo is a big thing. I'm also really lately been into post rock.
Post rock.
Oh my fucking god, it's the most relaxing shit.
Let's fucking hey. So like I said, that's a big way to get in my head. Even if I'm not a fan of the genre, if a few times a song has caught my ear where it's like out of my genres that I normally would like, and it's like so relaxing. You're just kind of like, this is like mood music.
Oh yeah, that's why I love about post rock. Generally no words, almost entirely fucking just instrumental, instruments, like just instruments. Always very spacey. Dynamic, like it's great music to have a story told to you with no words. Yeah, I fucking love post rock.
It is great. That's a big reason people love EDM and that sort of thing. Is because
that too.
The drugs too, but
that's drugs help a lot.
That's a very big factor.
Yes.
But a lot of it is like they just like the ride that the sound takes them on. It's not like derived by the story that's being told. And then kind of while we're on, like while we're talking about like the difference in music then and now, regarding horror movies, would you say that horror movies were generally better at a certain time frame, and maybe they're not so good generally now, or maybe do you think it's just opinion, or you're a little biased?
No, I think that across the board, horror movies have never really been a generational thing. I think I'm also sort of blasphemous. I'm not an 80s horror worshiper like most horror fans are.
Yeah.
I respect them. I think that they hold a extremely important place, but I'm not a big Friday the 13th guy. I'm not a Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I love them and I've seen all of them.
Totally.
Like don't get me like it's just they're not like where I'm like these were the pinnacle. I think the modern horror is doing a lot more than like just there. I mean, I honestly think that modern horror is some of my like I'm a huge supporter of more new stuff, honestly. Like I've been a lot more impressed with some of the shit that's been coming out, particularly as fucking, again, I'm a fucking hipster douche, low key. Fucking I try to be as little about it as I can, but A24 has been dropping just dope shit. Stuff like Hereditary, Midsummer, like the slow burn horror style has really caught my attention. There's always stuff in pretty much any generation that I can find. Like I think that the late 90s had some cool, I think that like there's a lot of hidden gems like what was it? It was Oh my god, why can't I fucking remember that? There was one movie that I watched, and it's gonna drive me fucking nuts. But
maybe later you can remember it, and then you can text it. Witchmaster. Okay.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say you could just text it to me, and then I'll like cut the audio right there, and just be me going Witchmaster.
Yeah, Witchmaster. Witchmaster was fucking like late '90s. It was fucking so good. It had practical effects, and like not too many people know about Witchmaster.
Yeah, I don't.
It's fucking great. If you haven't seen it, if you like horror movies, Wishmaster, fucking great.
So the horror movie, that's the thing about horror movies with me is like, I often will see an ad and I'll be like, it's kind of dumb. But then a lot of times I do it, but that's the same with any movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so there are some where like, but I definitely kind of be in the right mood. So that definitely having one to go to.
Yes.
Well, I'm more likely to watch it for when I am in that mood though. So I'll definitely check that out.
Like horror movies are my like, I can throw on like that's my like throw on even if I like. If it's something that I do know, I'll throw it on in the background just to, like as a familiarity. Or if I'm like not really wanting to watch something, but I don't want to watch something I've already seen,
right? Yeah.
I'll throw on some garbage fucking horror movie from Netflix. That was actually how Monster Jamboree started.
Really?
We originally wanted to do just bad horror movies.
Yeah.
And then we realized how fucking tiring it was to just watch shitty movies every week.
Because there are some bad horror movies.
And that's the thing is like there's fun bad, which
there are
fun
yeah,
bad. Yeah,
you
fun bad is the
gotta
best.
give them that leeway, exactly.
But like there are just some bad movie, and sometimes the actual bad are like more fun to review because like if a movie's fine, like this past last Thursday, this week's episode is dropping tomorrow, but last week we did Pulse, and both Eric and I love Pulse. Like it's a movie that we both own hard copies of it. Like it's a good fucking movie, and we tried to review it, but we ended up arguing about fucking anime. Like, but whereas when a movie sucks, that's when we actually talk about it.
Right. Well, yeah, okay, I could see that. Like, it's kind of whether it be like a deflect of like you're just like enjoying it, so you can't really think of anything to really criticize, you know, whatever it may be.
Or even
like,
praise sometimes, like
yeah.
Because with good movies, it's like if I were to talk about all the things they did well, then I would just be like, yeah, I remember this part of the movie. Like,
right.
Whereas if there's something that they get fucked up, like I went on a fucking rant about this movie. I can't remember the name of it, but basically the premise of this fucking movie, and I was so fucking upset because I had so my favorite genres within. I mean, these are like subgenres of horror. I like asylums. They're a big thing for me. I think they're just like the aesthetic of like being stuck, like the fear of like not being able to escape. Big thing. Like I think it's a very creepy thing.
Yes.
Ghosts. Love ghosts. So haunted asylums, big thing.
Oh, mixing worlds. There you go.
And then 3, the low-key one, is medical horror.
Medical horror.
So yeah, it's like like the idea of like being stuck in a hospital, like the same, but like being operated on when you shouldn't be, maybe like like human experimentation stuff. So there was this movie.
Plus hospitals generally. Well, I mean, this might not be the same for everyone, but like if you're like me and you've not